There is a secret known only to monks who walk barefoot before sunrise, to sages who count not days, divine windows, and to women who have cried alone beneath the stars. They say, when a man hurts a good woman, he does not just break a heart, he stirs the winds of fate. You were not forgotten. You were being written into a prophecy. Stay, because before this speech ends, the pieces will return to you. You will understand why it had to happen, and what is waiting for you just beyond the veil. There is a moment in every human life when silence grows louder than words, when the pain one carries begins to echo not in cries, but in stillness. It is in this quiet place, where sorrow meets understanding, that the first truth begins to awaken. When a man hurts a good woman, the universe does not turn its gaze. It watches, not with vengeance, but with a deeper law, one that predates judgment, one written not in ink, but in energy. This law is known among monks as the Asa echo of divine justice. This echo does not arrive with thunder, nor with shouts of retribution. It arrives like the slow melt of snow on the mountain, where drop by drop, which was frozen, begins to move again. And in time, it floods back to its origin. Imagine a man walking through a field in spring. As he steps carelessly upon the soil, he is unaware of the seeds sleeping beneath him. But the earth does not forget. In time, what was buried breaks open, reaches upward, and meets him again, not as seeds, but as roots and thorns, as flowers or famine. So it is with energy. So it is with karma. There is an old parable often told in the quiet halls of the Eastern monasteries. A young disciple once asked the elder monk, "Master, what becomes of those who wound others without cause?" The elder took the student to a pond. With a single stone, he disturbed the still water. Ripples spread far and wide, reaching even the edges. And then, without a word, he turned and walked away. Later that evening, the elder said gently, "The hand that throws the stone forgets, but the water remembers, always returns to stillness by drawing back the disturbance." When a good woman is hurt, it is not simply a matter of heartbreak. It is a disruption in the sacred balance of giving and receiving. Her intentions were pure, offered without masks, without conditions. And so when her heart is wounded, it creates a shift in the greater balance. The one who caused harm may walk away, but the ripple follows him, not as punishment, but as a mirror. For even the blind man must one day face the reflection of his deeds in the behavior of others, in the solitude he cannot explain, in the coldness that follows him where warmth once lived. In daily life, we often see this law unfold without names attached. A woman who gave everything is left in confusion. Time passes, seasons shift, and slowly she rebuilds, not through bitterness, but through grace. Meanwhile, the one who left begins to unravel. Friendships fall away. Opportunities slip. He wonders why the world feels colder, emptier. But he does not remember the field he once walked so carelessly through. It is not always immediate. Divine justice is not hurried. Like the sun, it rises only when the hour is ready. Confucius once said, "He who seeks to harm the innocent sows a wind he cannot see, but he will harvest the storm in due season." This law is why the spiritual path teaches restraint, mindfulness, and sincerity. Because what we send out is not forgotten. It is simply delayed in its return. And when it returns, it arrives with clarity. So, to the woman who was hurt, know this: you are not forgotten. You are remembered in ways deeper than words can express. Your tears water the soil of a future only the divine can now see. You have not been buried, you have been planted, and now we walk into the second gate of this prophecy. One less spoken of, but equally profound: sacred portals in time. There are moments, sacred windows, when the veil between the visible and invisible becomes thin. Days within the month, where energy does not merely pass, but enters. These are not ordinary days. They are divine appointments, times when the universe either opens a door or issues a test. Those who walk with awareness begin to feel it. A restlessness in the body, a shift in dreams, a sudden clarity or heaviness without cause. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the soul is being summoned to align or awaken. Between the 9th and 12th of the month, energy begins to stir. The ancients believed that during this window, the stars and earth speak more clearly. It is a time when truth knocks louder, when intuition sharpens, and when old emotions may rise. Not to harm, but to heal, a woman during these days may find herself drawn to silence. Not out of sadness, but as if her soul knows it is about to receive something, an inner message, a revelation, or even a symbolic dream. Let me tell you a story known to those who observe the moon. In a temple carved into the cliffs, a woman would retreat every 11th night. She said nothing to the others. She would simply sit by the fire, eyes closed, listening. One day, a traveler asked her, "Why do you return to the fire each month on the same day?" She smiled, "Because this is the night the river beneath the earth begins to whisper. And if I listen long enough, it tells me where to walk next." This is the essence of sacred timing. It does not come with calendars or alarms. It arrives in the quietest hours, often mistaken for insomnia or emotion. In nature, too, we see this rhythm. Certain flowers bloom only during specific nights. Tides rise not randomly, but in sacred accord with the moon. Why then should we not believe that our own lives move in cycles just as precise? On the 14th to 17th, another portal begins to open. This one brings a mirror, a reflection of what needs to be seen. It may come through a conversation, an unexpected memory, or even an encounter with someone who triggers old wounds. But this is not regression, it is purification. To resist it is to delay growth. To embrace it is to walk through the fire as gold. Laozi once wrote, "He who flows with the Tao is not harmed by the storms, for he has learned the way of water. So, dear soul, learn the way of water during these dates. Observe, but do not react. Reflect, but do not attach. Let the waves pass through you, and you will begin to see what is on the other shore." In daily experience, those who align with these sacred windows often find that they make better decisions. They speak less, but when they do, their words carry power. They stop chasing, and yet what is meant for them begins to move toward them. Why? Because alignment is not about effort. It is about rhythm, and in rhythm, everything flows with grace. There is something holy about recognizing these unseen days. A woman who becomes aware of them becomes not only powerful, but peaceful. She does not rush fate, she dances with it. So, between these dates, listen, light a candle. Take a walk at dawn. Pay attention to what repeats words, numbers, dreams. These are not background noise. They are whispers from the path ahead. The man who hurt you may never understand these truths. He may never know that by breaking you, he woke something ancient in you. But that is no longer your concern. Your concern now is to walk through these portals as the woman you were always meant to become. From the outside, nothing may look different, but within you, mountains are moving. And as the sacred window closes, you will notice something profound. You are no longer waiting for his return. You are preparing for your own. There is no greater prophecy than this. That after the breaking, the stillness and the silence, you rise, not as you were, but as you were destined to be. And the universe will meet you there. There is a saying passed down through the quiet lips of temple keepers, as the chosen are not those who seek glory, but those whom suffering has marked with light. To be a good woman who has been hurt is to carry within you the seed of something rare and divine. It is not the pain that defines you. It is the rising that follows. And within that rising, there is something mysterious, a calling not given to all. Some women are not merely loved, they are chosen. And when they are wounded, they do not crumble into ashes. They are transfigured, transformed into bearers of an ancient power that few understand, but all feel. To be the chosen woman is not to be superior. It is to be summoned, summoned into growth, summoned into silence, summoned into the sacred art of inner mastery. This is not a title she claims. It is a title that is revealed through trial. In a faraway land, there once lived a woman who tended a sacred fig tree near a monastery. Every morning she came, whether the sun rose golden or the skies turned bitter with snow. When asked why she was so devoted, she said, "Because one day a wounded monk told me this tree chose me to care for it. I do not know what that means, but each time I arrive, I feel peace." Years later, tree became a sanctuary. People traveled from distant lands to sit beneath it to feel its shade, not because the tree was miraculous, because the woman who cared for it had become a vessel of peace. Her suffering had matured into presence. Her consistency, born from heartbreak, had turned into quiet wisdom. This is the journey of the chosen woman. She is not chosen because she never cried. She is chosen because she cried and still returned. In daily life, we see her often, though she does not announce herself. She is the mother who smiles despite being left alone, the teacher who still uplifts even when her own heart aches, the friend who listens deeply but rarely speaks of her own wounds. These women hold a quiet fire. They are not loud, but they are unforgettable. What marks a chosen woman is not her voice, but the energy that follows her into a room. An energy shaped not by perfection, by perseverance. This transformation often begins when the one she trusted wounds her most, for it is betrayal that opens the soul to its deeper path. The chosen woman does not seek revenge, she seeks alignment. She steps back, not out of fear, but to hear what the silence is saying. This is why many do not understand her. Because while others react, she listens. While others chase, she observes. She knows that something greater is being prepared behind the veil. The philosopher Zhuangzi once said, "When the shoe fits, the foot is forgotten. When the heart is whole, the wound is no longer needed." Shows the chosen woman does not wait for apology. She does not wait for recognition. Her healing is not dependent on the one who left. It is woven by her own hands, stitched together in prayer, in ritual, in moonlight. If you have been hurt and yet still choose to love, still choose to believe, still choose to grow, then you have been chosen. Not by the world, by the mystery that sees the truth of your soul. From here, the journey deepens. For those who are chosen must also learn the sacred language of silence, the whisper beneath all sound. It is said that when a woman falls silent after heartbreak, she is not defeated. She is entering initiation. A good woman, when hurt, does not always shout. Often she becomes still. The world misreads this silence as weakness. But within it, something far more powerful is unfolding. This silence is not emptiness. It is listening. Deep listening to the soul's guidance running through the park, to the body's wisdom, to the invisible shifts within the air. This is the fourth key. As the whisper of intuition, there is an old Shaolin teaching that says, S. The louder the world becomes, deeper the sage listens within. The woman who turns inward after pain is not hiding. She is tuning her ears to a frequency the noise of the world cannot hear, a frequency of signs, of omens, of truth. This phase is often uncomfortable. Dreams may become intense. Memories surface like fog over a forgotten lake. She may feel alone, but she is being accompanied by a force older than time. Her intuition. Intuition is not a skill. It is remembrance, the remembering of what the soul already knows, but the mind has been taught to ignore. In a quiet village, a girl once asked her grandmother how she always knew when to open the window for birds to visit. The grandmother smiled and said, I do not know. But there is a stillness in the air just before they come. I have learned to trust it. So too must the good woman learn to trust her stillness. There will come a morning, perhaps between the 9th and 12th of the month, when she wakes and something feels different, a knowing without reason, a pull to let go of something, or a sudden urge to walk a different path. This is not confusion. This is guidance. In nature, birds migrate thousands of miles, guided by stars they do not see and winds they cannot measure. Yet they arrive year after year, the exact tree where they once began. So it is with intuition. Real life shows us that when women begin to trust these inner signals, their lives change. A woman may leave a relationship that no longer honors her, not in anger, but in peace. Another may move cities, careers, or end a friendship, not because of logic, but because something in her says, it is time. These decisions are rarely understood at first, but months later or years, it becomes clear her soul knew the way. Siddhartha Gautama once whispered, Lars, the way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. And so she follows the way, not with a map, with courage. This is why her silence matters. In the absence of noise, the truth speaks. She begins to recognize symbols, the repeated number that shows on clocks, the same word spoken by two strangers, the sudden appearance of an animal, a feather, a scent. These are not accidents. They are responses to her inner attention. The woman who listens learns faster than the one who argues, because life does not shout, it whispers. In her quiet, she begins to shift. The pain she once carried becomes lighter, not because it vanished, because her understanding grew deeper. She does not look for answers outside. She seeks alignment inside. And something begins to happen. People feel her differently. She says less, but is heard more. She appears soft, but is unshakable. Her presence becomes both comfort and clarity. To those who observe from the outside, she may seem unchanged, but those who encounter her spirit feel something ancient. She has become the woman who listens not only to others, but to life itself, and life responds. There is a gentle irony to this journey. The very silence that was born from pain becomes the song of her awakening. She becomes the calm in the storm, the fire in the lantern, the river that carves through stone, not through force, but through presence, and thus through the path of pain, through the gateway of silence, and by the guidance of intuition. She becomes not only healed, she becomes holy. This is not the end, but it is a sacred threshold, the one where she steps no longer as the woman who was hurt, but as the woman who now walks with wisdom and hears the whispers of destiny in every breath of wind. There is a law, quiet and eternal, that governs the rhythm of the cosmos, a law not written in books, but etched into the stars, woven into the tide, pulsing within every living breath. It is the law of return, the ever-spinning wheel of cause and consequence, of sowing and reaping, of rising and falling. The sages of old would say that what moves out circles back, not as it was, as what it has become. This law does not sleep, it does not forget. It does not favor one person over another. Simply is steady as the movement of planets, precise as the bloom of a lotus in spring. And within this law live the great as cycles of universal law. When a man wounds a good woman, it may appear at first as if the cycle is broken, as if kindness is punished and cruelty is rewarded. But this is only the illusion of short time, for cycles do not rush. They observe, they prepare, and then they return. In the still temples of the East, an elder monk once told his disciple, "Do not be fooled by the first turn of the wheel. The wheel turns many times before the journey ends." When a good woman is harmed, her pain does not vanish into the air. It enters the cycle. Her tears, her prayers, her stillness, all of these become energies that shape the road ahead, not only for herself, but for the one who caused the wound. This is why, in time, the man who once seemed victorious begins to feel the slow unraveling. Relationships turn brittle. Restless dreams begin to visit him. Peace becomes difficult to find. He may not connect the dots, but the cycle has remembered. And for the woman, something else begins to form. She who did not retaliate, who did not harden her heart, begins to receive in new and mysterious ways. A sense of clarity enters her life. People feel drawn to her without knowing why. The timing of events begins to shift. She meets kindness in strangers, alignment in places she did not expect. It is not coincidence. It is the balance returning. In nature, we witness this in the changing seasons. When winter comes, the trees do not protest. They become bare, but they do not fear. For even in the stillness, the sap within them is preparing. When spring returns, the blossoms appear not out of effort, but because the tree trusted the cycle. So too must the good woman trust that life is not linear. It is spiral. Every ending leads to a return. Every injustice plants the seed of balance. And when the time is right, the wheel brings back what is meant. Not always as it was, but always as it should be. There is a parable told beneath the incense smoke of mountain hermitages. A potter had two bowls. One he made perfect. The other he allowed to crack. Villagers mocked the cracked bowl and praised the perfect one. The potter placed water only in the cracked bowl and set it along the path to his garden. Years passed. One day, a traveler asked why flowers only bloomed on one side of the path. The potter smiled, because it is the cracked bowl that watered them every day. The cracks we carry, the pain we endure, often serve purposes we cannot yet see. In time, what once felt like a curse becomes the very reason others find beauty in our presence. This is the cycle in its gentlest form, transformation through grace. In everyday life, we meet women who embody this. Women who, after being betrayed, do not seek to destroy, but instead turn inward. They heal slowly. They read. They walk beneath trees, lay candles for no one but themselves. And when they reemerge, they do not speak of revenge. They speak of lessons, and people listen, not to their words, but to their energy. They have become living proof of the law. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make of it." When we understand that all things move in cycles, we stop clinging to moments of suffering as final. Instead, we begin to ask, what is this preparing me for? The man who broke her heart may continue walking forward, unaware. But the woman, she rises into a new rhythm, the rhythm of alignment. And here, the law shifts into blessing, because what begins as pain becomes purpose. And from that purpose into the final gate, the final transformation. For it is not enough to be chosen, not enough to be silent, not enough to understand the cycle. The soul must awaken. And it is in this awakening that we meet the final mystery, the awakening after the storm. Because storms do not come to destroy. They come to reveal the strength of what remains. After the storm, forest is not the same. But it is not lesser. It is clearer. The weak branches have fallen. The sky is more visible. The air purer. Life has been made honest again. So it is with the spirit. When a good woman is broken, she may think it is the end. She may cry beneath the moon, wondering if she will ever feel whole. But what she does not yet see is that the storm is clearing what no longer belongs. It is not destruction, it is preparation. In a remote monastery, there is a story whispered during the final hours of silence. A novice, heartbroken by rejection, came to the elder in tears. "Why would life take from me what I loved?" she asked. The elder handed her a lantern with no flame. He said, "Pour your sorrow into it. When you are ready, light it." She spent the night alone, holding the lantern. As her tears dried, she noticed the stars above, how they had always been there, though she had never looked. By morning, she returned to the elder. "The sorrow is still there," she said, "but now I can carry it with light." This is the essence of awakening. The pain does not vanish, but it becomes illuminated. You see your strength more clearly. You recognize your patterns. You understand what you truly desire and what you must now release. Your choices become intentional. Your energy becomes sacred. And here, something beautiful happens. The world begins to shift around you. People speak to you differently. You no longer tolerate chaos. You no longer accept half-hearted love. You begin to attract those who carry peace, not confusion. This is not magic. This is alignment. Like a compass returned to true north, your soul begins to walk its destined path. Pain was not a detour, it was the map. Real life confirms this. A woman, after betrayal, begins a journey inward. She takes long walks. She learns to breathe deeply again. She writes letters she never sends. In time, she begins to laugh again. Not because life has become perfect, because she has stopped needing perfection to feel joy. And those around her notice. They wonder, what has changed? Do not realize that the storm has passed, and what remains is her. Her power is not loud. It is steady, like the mountain after thunder, like the ocean after a wave. The philosopher Seneca once said, "No tree becomes rooted and sturdy unless many a wind assails it." So it is with the soul. It is not the absence of pain that makes us whole. It is our ability to walk through it and emerge with a deeper truth. You are not who you were before the storm. You are not the broken girl who waited to be chosen. You are the woman who walked through fire, now walks with light. Your story is not a tragedy. It is a prophecy, a living scroll of transformation. And now your journey does not end. It begins again, with clarity, with peace, with power that does not shout but hums beneath your every step. And should he ever return, or should the world ever forget, your silence will remind them, not with bitterness, but with presence. For the woman who awakens after the storm does not seek the past. She walks forward, and the path opens to meet her. She has become the storm's lesson, the cycle's reward, and the prophecy fulfilled.